Hey you guys, welcome to my GCSE study with me. So it's the Easter holidays and obviously my GCSEs are in a month, so I'm in full revision mode, and today I'll be showing you one of my 6-hour study days. So it's 10 o'clock and the first thing I'm doing is English literature. So what I'm doing is I'm making some notes on one of the key characters in my novel, which is Spies by Michael Frayn. And then when I finish the notes, I'm just starting to write a short essay on the character Uncle Peter, just to kind of summarise my ideas on him before I move on to the next character. I did this for half an hour, but the first 15 minutes didn't actually record, so here you're just seeing the tail end of it. And as I talk about a lot, I'm using the iPad Pro with the Apple Pencil. I'm using the app Notability. I've actually made a video about why I use an iPad and how I use an iPad, so I'll link that in the description below if you want to take a look at that. The next thing I'm doing is some history. So I'm studying superpower relations, which is basically the Cold War, and the way I'm doing it is using Quizlet. I talk about Quizlet loads and I pretty much use it for every subject, so what I'm doing is I have some prompt questions on superpower relations and I have to keep basically copying the answers out until I get them word for word right. It's really tedious, but I find it's really effective and it helps me retain everything for really long. As always, all my Quizlet sets are public, so I'll link them below if anybody wants to check them out. Then I'm doing Latin literature. So Latin literature is really weird because I have to learn the translations off by heart and then analyse Latin. It's really strange, but what I'm doing here is using the notes provided by the exam board and going in and annotating the text on my iPad. So there's 3 ways to analyse Latin literature. There's the choice of word, the sound of word, and the positioning of word. So I use a different colour for each, and I'm doing quite a bit of red right now, which is positioning of word. The set text I'm studying here is Echo and Narcissus, so it's some really interesting poetry and there's loads to analyse. But as you can imagine, it's really hard to try and learn, but it's great. And then I'm taking a half-an-hour break to watch some Netflix, yay! After that very much needed break, I'm back to making some chemistry notes on electrolysis. As you'll be able to see, I like to incorporate some colour into my notes just so they don't look so boring. Because when you're revising, you just have to find little ways to keep it exciting, otherwise 6 hours can really drag on. So for me, that's just adding a bit of colour. And one thing you'll be able to see is that I'm using the iPad to do a diagram. So this is where I find it really useful, because obviously I can easily drag a photo over from the internet and just immediately start annotating it. So it saves loads of time and it's just really useful. Next, I'm doing some Greek language. What I'm doing is I'm taking my Greek to GCSE workbook and I'm doing some of the practice exercises in it to test my Greek and to just get some practice. So once I've done some of those, I'm doing some sample passages, again just to test myself and hopefully get better at translating ancient Greek at some point, maybe. Then for my biggest enemy, biology. Biology is my worst science just because I find there's so much to learn. So what I'm doing now is I'm making some notes on genetic modification from my class book and from the textbook. I'm trying to make it as concise as possible because the biology textbook is literally the least concise thing you've ever seen and it's just a nightmare. Honestly, it'll be a miracle if I get through biology GCSE alive, but I'm giving it my best shot at least. So I took a lunch break between 1:30 and 2:30 and then I'm back on Greek literature. Again, Greek literature is the same as Latin. I have to analyse the Greek and learn the English translation. So what I'm doing now is learning the English translation. I have a passage of the set text, which is the Odyssey, split up into flashcards on Quizlet. And again, I'm just trying to copy it out again and again until I learn the translation word for word. As you can imagine, it's thrilling. Then when I've learnt it word for word on Quizlet, I'm pulling up a copy of the text online and seeing if I can translate it on paper. So again, it's just about testing myself over and over again until it's firmly rooted in my head. After Greek, I'm doing some drama revision, and drama revision is probably my least favourite just because it actually involves me actively doing stuff rather than just passively absorbing information. I'm going through for the key characters in my set text, which is the 39 steps, and I'm finding 5 key scenes for each character and analysing lines that they say. I actually have to think about how I would perform each line and what I try to convey to the audience because those are the types of questions I have to answer in the exam. So as you can imagine, it's not my favourite thing to revise, definitely. Then I took a half an hour break just because drama revision kind of does that to me, but then I've come back for some Latin language revision. This is similar to Greek in that I'm just doing some practice exercises from the workbook and then translating some practice stories. It's really good to see which words I don't know and which grammar points I need to go over during my revision, so I find this kind of studying really useful. The only other science I haven't studied today is physics, and physics is the subject I'm the furthest ahead in my revision, so I'm not really stressing about it. What I'm doing now is just making a Quizlet set based off my notes for energy resources, and that's one of the really great things about digital notes. I can pull them up anywhere on my phone, laptop, school computer, whatever. I've got my notes up on the left side of the screen, and then the Quizlet set I'm making is on the right side of the screen, you know, 21st century student, all that. Then I just took a big break for dinner and I went for a run and I showered and all that jazz, and I'm back for some biology revision again, just because I'm the furthest behind in biology. As you can see, my room's quite orange right now just because it's golden hour and the sun's setting, it's very scenic, and I'm, you know, stuck inside making notes for genetic modification, but hopefully it'll all be worth it in the end. Finally, after a long day to round off all my revision, I'm doing some more Greek language. I'm just doing some vocab revision on Quizlet, so I've taken 25 words that I get wrong most often, and I'm using Quizlet's learn mode until I know them all. And then I'm using their gravity game, I think it's called, just to keep testing myself on the 25 words. And alright, that's it from me. Thank you for watching my study with me. Hopefully you've enjoyed this insight into how I study. Let me know in the comments below what you think, if you have any tips or suggestions, or just, you know, any questions. As I said, I'll link below all the things I've mentioned, so as always, thanks for watching. Make sure you like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you very soon. Goodbye.